If I am tempted to go and check if it's recording again, please stop me, because watching back some of my other vlogs, I always do that.
Oh, yeah.
And it becomes my own personal pet peeve.
So, to introduce this, misery, 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 that's what you've chosen.
Pretty much, because we decided to watch Spider-Man Lotus. I'm visiting Miles right now. We, not a new movie we wanted to do a vlog on, because we're planning to see The Odyssey, but all indications are that that'll actually be good.
Yeah.
So instead we decided to torture ourselves and watch Spider-Man Lotus. If you're not aware, Spider-Man Lotus is a fan film. I think it was made by like a guy, at least when it started out, I think it was in like filmmaking college or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And it had a huge crowdfunding campaign. They shared images of what the costumes looked like, and it looked, so it got a lot of attention and hype. But then it was caught in a scandal because, like, what was it, like the lead actor was like outed as being alarmingly racist.
Like, yeah, there were some messages about, like, some messages suggesting he was racist. People dispute the timeline of when those messages occurred. There were allegations about the effects team, which, again, were also kind of in dispute. So, like, there's just a lot of weird controversy around the movie. Whether it was the allegations of racism or the allegations of mistreatment, and whether or not those are true or not, those are far and away the
least of what's wrong with this movie.
Yeah, those are far and away the least of this movie's actual problems.
Like I'm shocked that this came out in like 2023 or something, because that recently you'd think I would have heard about it, or it would have been bigger news. But I think the hype for this thing just died between the racism scandals and the I think it hit delays in production as well.
It did, yeah.
So which got a lot of crap.
Well, it looked like it was shot during COVID.
I was gonna say that, because you almost never see more than like three more than just the main cast hanging around. Like, there are no extras at all, and that's so. Well, you can kind of pin when this movie was made, because there's a shot where we pause it. I noticed one of the they go by the theater in the prologue, and Snake Eyes is the main one I caught. You zoomed in and you caught a poster for it. Had to have been It Chapter 2,
yep.
And you picked up Space Jam 2 as well.
Mm-hmm. So it was definitely out during COVID.
Or shot during COVID, yeah, because there are it's in New York City and there are no extras anywhere.
So yes, it was my idea to torture Jadow here with Spider-Man Lotus, because what better way to celebrate the upcoming release of Spider-Man Brand New Day?
Yeah, like, I'm always dubious of the Man-Spider storyline. It is still going to be better than this by default.
Well, at least it'll have action.
Yeah, no shit. Because, like,
Okay, yes.
So, this is a Spider-Man fan film that was supposedly going to, like, get the character, like, right. I think that was another reason people were excited. They thought, like, this would get the character more right. But, like, being a fan film, like, and having crowdfunded a whole lot of money, it still only has 2 very brief action scenes, neither of which are particularly impressive. Like, and then there are 2 fight scenes, and there are 2 brief sequences of Spider-Man, like, web swinging, which...
I thought I counted 3.
There's one at the start and there's one at the end. There might be one, like,
like the one where he leaps off the bridge.
Oh, yeah, there was a brief shot of that, yeah, when he, like, leaps off the bridge, which... out of context, sounds like it should be in context with this movie. So
okay, so to best describe this movie from the outset, this is like and you actually kind of had this thought while we were watching the movie. This kind of has the same problem that a lot of Zack Snyder adaptations have of DC superheroes that aren't Watchmen. Is that Snyder thinks that the only major DC comic that's good is The Dark Knight Returns, because of how violent and angsty it is.
Yeah, like, this movie feels like it was made by a guy who doesn't really like comic books, but thinks the night Gwen Stacy died is the most hardcore thing ever. Because this is basically an entire movie of Harry, Peter, and Mary Jane all wallowing in misery about how sad they are that Gwen Stacy died, and that's the movie.
And that is literally the plot. You get almost nothing other than that.
Like, Spider-Man does not fight a supervillain. Well, I take it back. There's a cold open where he fights the Shocker in the middle of a street. Doesn't even stop like a grand plan or anything. He just...
one of the worst adaptations of Shocker, mind you.
Like, I know they showed off a picture of him. They showed off the mask and nothing else because Spider-Man even calls out how bad the costume is in the movie.
Honestly, the costume wasn't even wasn't even my biggest problem with Shocker. It's how they made him like a weird street gangster vibe.
Well, street gangster vibe, but also like they added like stitching in his mouth, like it was supposed to be like a horror villain or something.
Oh god! And again, that I just couldn't get over that. My version of Shocker is like from the '90s series where like he's just spitting one line, like these like kind of like edgy like gravelly voice one-liners where he's like so very painful or sort of painful. That's up to you. Like, where are the photos of the crash site?
Like my version of Shocker I'm most familiar with is in the first movie licensed tie-in game where he's like again kind of a gruff voiced criminal where he, the line that comes to mind is, "We're not giving up a score this big to some clown in red tights."
Again, like, that at least sounds like a comic book villain.
Yeah, this one, he's just some random dude on the street with gauntlets that shoot stuff really freaking slowly. And don't even seem to do that much damage because Spider-Man takes a hit in the chest because he ran out of webbing.
And he walks off just fine.
Yeah. So, we're probably... Shocker is not an important part of this movie, but if we want to just start at the beginning, like the movie starts with a cold open where Spider-Man is like, already he's saying basically spelling out that Gwen's going to die. He's like, "We thought we had all the time in the world. I miss how innocent it was in those early days.
I wanted just one more night."
Yeah, and then basically just because this is a Spider-Man movie, we have to have a fight with a villain. He fights the Shocker, and the Shocker's three henchmen who have a tendency to just stand around letting Spider-Man punch them.
Well, they also look so surprised when Spider-Man whips out a web, and then yanks two of them, and the other guy goes, "What?"
Yeah. Like, they just stand there staring at the dude. Shocker, they point out, is just wearing red overalls. Because, and it doesn't so much look like he has gauntlets, it looks like he just has two bent pieces of sheet metal over his arms. And it's like Shocker literally just stands there like shooting really, really slowly while Spider-Man he doesn't do like the athletics aside from the guy they might have had a stuntman in a gymnast suit like do a few flips and all that, but it's not athletic or energetic at all. So it's kind of like you're already starting to see the problems though Spider-Man might not lend himself so well to a fan film
unless you have the money.
Yeah, the money or at least something. Well, wire work is kind of something you see in big budget things. So then,
real quick, the opening like CG shots of the city, like that are like where they're going through the city in a car, and a car's like going at a high speed. It literally looked like the opening like cutscene of like from the first movie game back on the Xbox. Like that's what the quality of the CG was.
Yeah, of just like because they didn't have the budget to shoot a car speeding through the streets, abandoned by COVID, though they may have been.
Still easier to appreciate than the Amazing Bulk.
Oh god,
which is literally a 2D sprite of a car just.
It looks like car clip art. We have a tradition of showing each other good and bad movies, and we did bad last night. I showed Miles The Amazing Bulk, which kind of puts a cushion under how bad this movie is.
Because at least there were production values.
Yes, if a movie has looks like people are standing in a real place at some point, it is already better than The Amazing Bulk.
By the way, seriously, watch The Amazing Bulk. It is hysterical.
Like Alma had us watch that because it looks like a Sega CD. It looks worse than a Sega CD game.
But anyway, so yeah, he fights Shocker. Then Peter is, of course, chronically late to an outing with his friends. They see a movie, and oh god, and then Peter starts walking with Gwen.
It's Harry, Peter, MJ, and Gwen, and they're all walking along, and Gwen is mad at Peter because he's got a lame excuse for being late again. We find out Peter is planning to propose to Gwen, which is the single worst time you could pick because
again, it's like, dude, you never want to propose to a person you're wanting to marry when they're angry with you.
It's like he's trying to work up the nerve to ask her, and I'm just like, don't you do it.
don't do it.
You do it.
And he doesn't.
He doesn't, no. But it's like, it's not that he doesn't, it's not that he chickens out of it because he realizes it's a bad time. It's because he hears police sirens and leaves to do that instead. Meanwhile, Gwen's actress looks like she's counting down the seconds till she gets out of this movie. She looks like she doesn't want to be there. Mary Jane is just kind of there. I was never particularly impressed with her performance. Harry, I think we both agree, like, Harry Osborn is the second best actor in this movie.
Like, he is active, like Harry, like, we'll get to Harry in a little bit, but, like, for real, Harry Osborn has the most realistic reaction to what we're about to talk about. Like,
yeah.
He actually goes, Harry shockingly actually has a real character arc in this movie.
And when Peter is trying to, I guess the common slang now is riz up Gwen, it's like, you do not buy him as a romantic lead at all.
No, you
we
do not.
both drew the comparison to Hayden Christensen in Attack of the Clones, except Attack of the Clones was better.
You know, this makes me appreciate when Hayden Christensen tries to flirt with Natalie Portman by saying, I don't like sand. It's coarse, it's rough, it's irritating, and it gets everywhere. And that is somehow less silly than every bit of romantic banter that Peter tries to have with Gwen in this movie.
Because at least there it's like he's actually awkward and trying to come up with something to say. Here it's just like, oh, it's secondhand cringe of like, you want to die.
And honestly, the level of the level of romantic dialogue we were having, and the way it was delivered, by the way, in the most like flat, serious expression, was really starting to make me think of Twilight, like how Bella and Edward talk in Twilight.
That does not feel inaccurate. So like, so this is the first 15 minutes of the movie, by the way.
Before we finally get opening credits.
Yes, then we get the opening credits. Like, the opening credits shows, I'm not sure if it's art from like a reprint or a more modern comic with flashbacks or something, but it's artwork showing like it shows like the Green Goblin, it shows Spider-Man, it doesn't show anything like from the night Gwen Stacy died. It shows just
the
like
warehouse, the warehouse fight, effectively.
Yeah, basically it just shows like Spider-Man swinging off. It shows Peter devastated. If you look closely, there's kind of an obstructed TV headline of like the Green Goblin kidnapped someone, and it shows like Green Goblin getting impaled on his own glider. So we're both thinking like, okay, it's showing teasers of like basically what storyline this is adapting. But then the credits end and it's like, oh no, they cut to straight after the night Gwen Stacy did. Like, Gwen is dead, Green Goblin is dead, Peter's already beat up. They don't show shit. Because
they realized they probably didn't have the money for it.
Yeah, because
that would require an actual director with money.
Because like, Night Gwen Stacy died pretty infamous, iconically involves her falling off a bridge.
Yeah.
They never do actually show her like fall or anything. That there's a flashback later that just shows her like the aftermath. Where
at least her not falling is easier on her back.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes. So this movie skips over like what should be like the big emotional gut punch of the movie, which is Peter Peter seeing Gwen's death and then lashing out.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where to stick this in the review. So I feel like I just want to say it right now. There are two Spider-Man projects that do the death of Gwen Stacy infinitely better than this movie. One, because they actually show it to you, and one, there's at least some amount of build-up to it.
It's like you see the action scene and there's tension and stakes there because you know some bad shit could happen, and then it does.
So like
this just completely cuts over the fight on the bridge. It cuts over Gwen Stacy's fall. It cuts over literally everything except later we get a flashback of Spider-Man punching Green Goblin in the aftermath. That's it. Like, for adapting, like, one of the most iconic comic books in Spider-Man's history, they skip over the actual adaptation.
And so, like when the Amazing Spider-Man 2 does it, what makes the scene actually have some impact, even if the movie's not great, is, like, you've had the build-up of Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone's, like, budding romance, which is actually decently done.
They actually have chemistry.
Yeah, well, yeah, they have actual chemistry. And then when the Green Goblin causes Gwen Stacy to start falling to her death in the clock tower scene, like, Peter is making a very active effort to, like, try and save her, and he gets this close to saving her, complete with like admittedly hokey, but like the web forming a hand.
Yeah.
And he gets so close to saving her, but of course he doesn't make it. And then we actually see like, and then even when it starts like showing his like emotion and how he's processing the grief, it doesn't wallow in it. It gives us like 5 minutes of him grieving, which I think is more than enough.
It doesn't. Yeah. It shows like he hasn't. Like, it depicts him kind of having an emotional blue screen of death, kind of where he's just like months pass and he's
doesn't know what
devastated by it. Yeah.
And then when the Spider-Man '90s series did it, but substituted Gwen for Mary, but substituted Mary Jane for Gwen.
And instead of her dying, she falls through a portal.
But like, and even there though, the emotion is there. Even with Christopher Daniel Barnes' hilarious overacting of "You'll pay, Osborn, if I have to chase you forever. You'll pay."
Yeah. Like, and both times there's like tension. There's a buildup of tension because like Spider-Man's girlfriend is in the hot zone, and it's like actually having close calls to like sell like something bad could happen.
So the point being, this entire thing the movie's adapting completely misses like what makes the story, what makes that moment in Spider-Man's history actually work.
Yeah, it's like. It just occurred to me, like, they want so badly to adapt the night Gwen Stacy died, but instead they have to adapt, like, everyone's reactions to the night Gwen Stacy died.
Which that makes for a great movie, right?
Yeah. So, like, it cuts to,
some weeks later.
Yeah, so I had a little hard time, like, brain fart just not remembering what happens next, but basically, Peter is at Gwen's grave. Harry is missing, and Mary Jane comes by to talk to Peter, and
real quick before that, this was the thing that made us go like, huh? Was we get some like news reporter talking about some news reporter talking about like what happened and telling us what happened. Apparently, the cops were starting to work with J. Jonah Jameson to like blame Spider-Man for Gwen and also the death of Norman Osborn. It's like, what? What police department is going to turn to a crackpot news
tabloid rag
to be like, hey, we need you for a police investigation?
It just occurred to me, the cops think that Spider-Man went on a killing spree, and that never gets followed up.
I know, it's like it maybe gets brought up once which we'll get to that later.
Yeah. And another thing that had us both kind of realizing, oh, we're in trouble, is the entire opening credits is set to like this almost horror music.
Oh yeah.
Or like
well, not horror music. I think it was like
funeral music almost.
Yeah, funeral or Gimple speak music.
Yeah.
Which, real quick, Gimple speak, and this is something I've had to learn from one of our mutual friends, Schnick, is he and I have been watching The Walking Dead, and in some of the later seasons of The Walking Dead, it starts to use this it starts to use really sappy songs that like spell out character emotions to the point of beating you over the head with it. And that was because of the show's then showrunner Scott Gimple.
And we've been watching some Invincible season 2 that does the exact same thing where Omni-Man is flying through an asteroid field and the music is just talking about him like being sad and flying through an asteroid or something like that.
But here's the thing, for whatever reason, those didn't feel like we were getting beaten over the head. Every time a character stops to mope around in this movie, the movie literally takes the music and starts beating you over the head with it.
It's like the entire song is like, it's like an emo teenager's playlist the whole freaking way through. But yeah, there was this news reporter guy who talks like this in a flat monotone, has no charisma or like he's never actually heard a news report in his life. And it's like, sorry, my brain went down a rabbit hole because I was thinking
it's fine. It's just like the news reporter doesn't talk like a news reporter. J. Jonah Jameson, for whatever reason, has enough credibility to be working with the cops.
Which is that's like if the police took Alex Jones's crackpot conspiracy seriously and brought him in on the investigation.
I mean, they almost did in No Way Home.
But pretty much, yeah. But so then Peter is moping at Gwen's grave. But Mary Jane comes by to talk to him, and he just lights her up as being a completely worthless human being for Miss Center of Attention doesn't know what to do. and she's like wants to invite him to a party. Neither one of these is how humans talk to each other, but it's also kind of like these two are going to get married at some point, and it feels like they well, the movie doesn't do a good job establishing Mary Jane as a character anyway, so all this. So both Harry and Peter like dig into her about like not actually being their friends. Like that didn't come across at all.
You know what's funny? That was still more tolerable than the stuff than the will they won't they in the Sam Raimi trilogy.
Kind of.
Because like as much real quick as classic as the Sam Raimi trilogy is, because I need to explain that point real quick. It gets annoying throughout the trilogy with the will they won't they relationship with Mary Jane and Peter. Like it makes like it annoys me.
Yeah.
So like for whatever reason here at least felt a little less annoying, but it wasn't well done either.
Yeah. And by the way, this movie very much loves the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies because it steals shots from it. It steals
music.
It steals music from it because it's so almost the Danny Elfman score, and it steals Willem Dafoe's performance as the Green Goblin.
Oh God, yeah,
of it.
Yeah. So like later in the movie when we do get to see the Green Goblin a bit. Like the actual costume, which by the way, the costume doesn't look that terrible until you hear him speaking lines and don't see the mouth move.
There's no expression in the face and the mouth barely moves. It is a Halloween mask, basically.
But the performer is literally trying to be Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
He about copies that misery line, which is why it was in your head.
Oh, well, doesn't he actually like do the? No, the line you point out from the video game is when he goes, "What a tangled web we weave."
Yeah,
that
he
is
quotes
in the video game.
Yeah, I can't remember. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so I don't remember.
It's not in the movie, but it is in the game.
But yeah, he stole it from the video game. But like,
back to the gravesite. So Peter's lighting up Mary Jane and like gaslighting her into thinking she's a terrible person. And like, no, she's trying to be a good friend by checking up on you because you've been missing for weeks, barely saying a word. And on top, like, and just because she literally says she wants to invite you to a party so you can get your mind off things. That's what a friend does when you're grieving. They don't try to make you focus on your misery. They try to do things that remind you that life is still worth living.
And then Peter reacts like Mary Jane wasn't even their friend in the first place, which is just all kinds of confusing.
And honestly, for just about the rest of the movie, it turns Peter / Spider-Man into the most unlikable jackass ever.
Case in point, we then go to Peter's apartment where Harry, who just lost one of his best friends, and his dad is there having almost on a bunch of pills, and Peter starts yelling at him for being a douchebag. Someone is mowing your lawn back there. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about the background noise if you can hear that, but yeah. So like Peter starts yelling at Harry like Harry didn't just have his world shattered, and also he doesn't like. I don't know, it just feels like a Spider-Man who's now old enough to ask someone to marry him feels like he should, and especially with the kind of character Spider-Man usually is, any adaptation of that, no matter which way you slice it, that character should have some understanding of what it's like for a best friend who's just had their world shattered and turns to pills to try and cope.
Yeah, instead he comes home, sees his friend that he thought was dead on the couch, like almost having just died on pills, and his reaction is, "You motherfucker!"
It's like, get out of my house!
Yeah, it's like, what?
It's like, where were you, Harry? You weren't paying rent. That's your biggest issue right now is the rent?
And when Harry, like, blows up on Peter, it's like, you know, he's completely right, because Harry calls him out for being a selfish dillhole. And it's like, yeah.
Which, again, like, when someone's grieving, chastising, when someone's grieving and they're choosing an unhealthy coping mechanism, the worst thing you can do is chastise them for that unhealthy mechanism.
Yeah. So then it's kind of a little hard to talk about the movie because until about the 1 hour mark, it's basically just Peter and Harry sitting around moping.
And it gets so pretentious.
Moping while the emo teenage soundtrack plays.
Again, I am not kidding you. The entire most of this movie is just beating you over the head with saying, "Do you get it? They're sad. They're sad."
Yeah, like at some point during that, like Peter goes to the bridge to sulk And we get a little bit of a flashback to the fight with the Green Goblin, but it's mainly just Peter. He gets like shot and dodges one or two lasers, but it's mainly just him like punching the Green Goblin on a wall. And they don't even have the glider fly in and finish off the Goblin. It's implied Spider-Man just finished him off with his bare hands. Which, okay, if they couldn't afford glider effects, they couldn't even afford a CG model of one.
Even though they very clearly could afford CG effects.
There's even a shot where Peter has like the spider sense, like it's implying the glider might be coming in, but then they never show it. So,
my other problem with that fight scene is, and again, having just rewatched the first John Wick movie, it just crystallizes this for me. When you're doing a hand-to-hand fight scene, the worst thing you can do is shove the camera like so close to the action where you almost can't even see the punches getting thrown.
Yeah, and also, and another thing, it shows Spider-Man costume fully intact, like fighting the Green Goblin.
Cuts to black,
and then it cuts to Peter moping on the bridge some more, and then it cuts back, and now his outfit is all busted up, and the whole place is on fire.
With very obvious stock Unity fire assets.
Like all that, the most stock fire effects you've ever seen. Like all that crowdfunded money, they couldn't show like an actual fight or anything.
Especially with all those names, especially when they have like 14 minutes of names.
Yeah, this movie ends with 10 straight minutes of names for who helped crowdfund this thing.
So you cannot tell me they didn't have the money available for more convincing effects.
Yeah. Although, in fairness, maybe they spent all that crowdfunding money on Spider-Man merch because because the actual plot of this movie is MJ, who they might as well spell out, knows that Peter is Spider-Man, gives him a note from Robbie. They say it's Robbie telling him that he knows it's not his fault, but it's actually a note saying, "Hey, here's this terminally ill child. Would you mind paying him a visit?" Because he loves Spider-Man.
Which, by the way, minus the terminally ill part, is almost one-to-one what happens in the Spider-Man 90s series, where like Peter's getting ready to give up on being Spider-Man. Robbie hands him a fan letter from a young girl, and then Spider-Man at first disregards this, but then he ends up going to visit. But then he ends up going to visit her, and then this little child, she's such a massive fangirl that she basically has to like tell Spider-Man to wake up and saying like, yes, things may suck right now, or you may feel terrible, but people like me, you have had a positive impact on.
The thing is, she actually is terminally ill in the 90s series.
She is?
As she, like, the very end of that two-parter, as Spider-Man leaves, it pans down, it shows a sign like it's a hospital for the terminally ill.
Oh, so she was terminally ill.
So, yeah, they just stole that plot line point for point for this movie, except in the Spider-Man 90 series, it's wrapped up in like 20 minutes because it's a two-parter, but the second half has the girl like teaming up with this like Jamaican cab driver to fight Doc.
Nobody steals a ride in Muncie Cab.
Yeah, like that still has a villain plot where they go to fight Doc Ock, but aside from that, yeah, they stole that wholesale for this movie. Because they're like around the 1 hour mark. Because you pretty much we kept checking the time and being astounded at how much it felt like nothing was happening in what is on paper a 2-hour movie. And like he goes to this kid's house because it's implied to be his mom taking care of him. And the place is wallpapered in Spider-Man comics and ads, and he has a plug-and-play video game. It's
and he has a TV playing the 1960s cartoon somehow. So what is going on in this movie?
How is there a Spider-Man cartoon that's older than Spider-Man?
Like, is Spider-Man somehow, like, such a mega pop culture icon that, like, people spent money to make a 60s style cartoon of a person that actually exists, and then they make a bunch of comic books?
Like, they all think Spider-Man is a criminal, but here's all this merch being sold of him.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? That kind of reminds me of the thing, like, and I'm sorry to bring Logan's name into this, but that kind of reminds me of in Logan, because, like, I think X-23 was reading X-Men comics, and Logan kind of tells her, like, the comics, like, overhype the X-Men or something.
Yeah, that feels like where they got it from. Like, it still doesn't entirely make sense, but at least there it's, like, brand X-Men comics, not the actual comics in real life.
Well, and on top of that, there's also a bunch of, like, Spider-Man toys that the kid shows off and whatnot, and no joke, this exact plush is in the movie hanging on the kid's bed.
Yup.
Like, by the way, this was merch for the first Sam Raimi movie.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this exact Spider-Man was in the movie, and as soon as that happened, I had to pause it, rewind it, make sure I wasn't seeing things, pause it again, I went up to my room to grab this.
They have merch from the official movies in this movie.
I know.
And actually, there are two oblique references, because, like, there's one where kid says, I got this toy from a movie, one of the movies, which, why are there Spider-Man movies in this? But he says, I don't know why your suit's red and black. It's like, okay, oblique reference to Miles Morales, but never actually show it. But also, like...
Well, he talks about, like, all the video games, or oblique references to the video games.
But also, as Spider-Man asks, why aren't you a fan of, like, Captain America or Thor? They play an instrumental of the opening of the theme from Avengers Assemble, the cartoon.
No, Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Earth's Mightiest Heroes, yeah. I don't get those confused.
Yeah, it's the one, Earth's Mightiest Heroes is the one with the Always Fight as One song.
Yeah, it's that. So, like, they have those two oblique references, but it's still like, why is... There's so much Spider-Man merch here.
I am genuinely shocked. Like, already they didn't have to blur out the movie posters that much. And but when it
official artwork, yeah.
But when it comes to like the official Spider-Man merch and artwork and comics, they blur none of it out.
I'm honestly shocked how much they got away with, because they do point out, like, this is not an official film. It's not affiliated with Sony, Disney, or
and yet it has Spider-Man merch plastered all over it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of cool that the kids' room is plastered in merch. I'm just surprised the filmmakers got away with it.
I just had a thought regarding the development hell of this movie, because the start of the movie has a disclaimer that it's not affiliated with Sony or Marvel. It's not until the end credits that they add Disney to that list that they're not affiliated with.
Because maybe Disney came knocking on the door.
I really don't know. But, like, it is interesting, though, because we could clock when the movie was made because of those posters outside the movie theater. This was made after the MCU Spider-Man was a thing, which is probably why the mask looks exactly like Tom Holland's Spider-Man mask.
And it's honestly, I still can't get over the fact, though, that the kid is watching the 1960s cartoon.
Yeah, this cartoon that was made like 40 years before Spider-Man, before this Spider-Man was born.
So
it reminds me that solid JJ guy who did the Transformers hand job joke that we love.
Oh yeah,
he did a sketch recently where this guy, news anchor is like, he brings him on to talk Spider-Man on to talk about the movie and asks, "Where were you on 9/11?" And it's like people in the comments are going like, "Well, going by the sliding time scale of comics, he was a toddler." But that's not the payoff to the joke, but in the sketch. But in the comments, it's like he shouldn't have been around yet. But
But yeah, so like literally the rest of the movie is like this. I can't believe I'm saying this. This is sort of where I thought the movie was starting to maybe get kind of decent, because like as Spider-Man is talking to this terminally ill kid, which something hilariously awful though does happen before. Actually, I think before it gets good, is Spider-Man starts trauma dumping on this terminally ill kid.
Yeah,
it's like, you think you've got problems?
Yeah, like Spider-Man goes to visit this terminally ill kid and basically tells him like, "No, you don't get it, kid. I suck. My life sucks. All these people I know are dead because I suck." And it's like telling the kid that his lifelong idol, and not that long a life idol, mind you, is a complete failure. And I'm going to do the thing that I do bust out laughing. You said it's like if John Cena came to a kid, and I filled in like, it's like if John Cena came into a Make-A-Wish Foundation and went, "I'm on steroids and wrestling's all fake. Bye." Like...
That's exactly what it was like, though.
It's like
Spider-Man was so tone deaf in that scene. It's like, okay, I know you're angsting right now. I know you're upset. I know you're depressed. You don't go to a terminally ill kid who we then find out only had weeks to live.
And tell them that this symbol of hope in your life is a crock. Like, this almost does handle it. Like, this has a better I should probably bring up the comparison later after we get to the ending, though, because there's a movie out this year that actually manages to be the worst version of this, kind of.
Oh, God.
But like while all this is going on, like at some point Mary Jane is at a party, and the best scene in the movie happens. Flash Thompson comes out and actually gives her a pep talk and is talking about how Peter isn't that a bad guy.
And actually talks to Flash Thompson talks to him, or talks to Mary Jane, and like such like a very nice and like
he actually has charisma and talks like kind of talks like a human.
Talks like, and on top of that, like this is where the movie actually started to have at least like hints of a decent message about grieving. Is like Flash Thompson comes up and like does and like while he's talking to Mary Jane, who's clearly going through shit right now, is like, Mary Jane, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not gonna say like I know what you're going through. I'm not gonna pretend like I know what you're going through, but you can't do it alone. And I'm like, that was something good, legitimately good in the movie. Is something positive to say about the grieving process.
And actually, Flash is actually played by an actor with charm and charisma.
Well, like, and also some degree of skill.
Yeah, like the script is garbage because that scene's about 5 minutes longer than it needs to be. But like, Flash is the best actor and character in this movie.
And how hard do you have to fuck up your script to where like the person that Peter knows only as the bully in his life.
The high school bully is the best character in the movie.
Which, like I said during the movie, to be fair, like The Amazing Spider-Man kind of did that, where like after Uncle Ben dies in The Amazing Spider-Man, Flash actually becomes kind of tolerable.
And Spectacular Spider-Man does the same thing, where he's kind of like, he's still a bully and a jerk about it, but he gives Peter the wake-up call he needs. Like, guy who can't tell when his friends are trying to help. Like after he starts botching things up with the symbiote Spider-Man storyline. So, yeah. So what's all going on in this movie? Peter is moping about the death of Gwen Stacy. Mary Jane is moping about the death of Gwen Stacy. Harry goes to a cemetery to mope about the death of Gwen Stacy. I think something got cut because he says, MJ, like, you shouldn't have stopped me. Like, she's kind of stopped in the middle of like a suicide attempt. Yeah. So I think something got cut there. And
that scene, by the way, that conversation, like, so Mary Jane starts talking to Peter inside of Mary Jane starts talking to Harry inside of a car after he pulls him out of the rain. And then when Mary Jane starts talking to Harry, it's like all the dialogue is leading up to like there's going to be MJ's going to reveal some big hidden secret about her life, like she's gay or something.
And it's coded like she's coming out of the closet to him to talk about like sharing his grief and stuff, and it is so weirdly executed. We both, I caught that too. Like, we both thought she was coming out of the closet or something, the way it's written.
But then she doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
it's like the script backed out of it at the absolute last second.
Yeah, and I will say though, like, when he's not trying to imitate Willem Dafoe, like Harry like hears his dad yelling at him and stuff. That acting was flat as hell. Like that was not well directed.
Harry, you're a disappointment to me. No son of mine is going to flunk out of high school.
Yeah, just like that intonation, except going on for a while.
But just real quick, just one more thing on the Flash Thompson. That really was, that legitimately was a great scene. Like we can make fun of the scene, but it was actually good, and like one of the very few spots of the movie where I do think there was some actual degree of skill involved.
Yeah. It's also kind of a symptom because that scene, he belabors the point, goes on for too long. This very badly needed a script doctor to come in and say, okay, you can trim this down, you can trim this down, you can trim this down. Because like the movie had room to trim. Even without credits, it's an hour and 45 minutes.
So like, it's like they could easily have trimmed at least maybe a good 8 to 10 minutes out of this movie, and it probably would have felt better.
Yeah. So Peter gets done trauma dumping on this poor kid. They play a crappy Spider-Man plug-and-play system, which is a little awkward. And something that you pointed out, the kid asks, what happened to the girl on the bridge? Which comes out of nowhere just to make Peter feel like a sad, I guess.
It's like I understand the kid probably hurt, like is hearing the story that Spider-Man killed Gwen Stacy, and so he's maybe naturally curious, but I don't know, it's just the way in context of the scene, it comes and the way it's done, it feels like the kid chose the worst possible moment or the most awkward moment to ask that question.
Yeah.
Especially after Spider-Man just spent time somewhat kind of pumping him up.
Yeah.
But then when the kid asked that question, this is when Spider-Man starts trauma dumping on him. We get we get exposition explaining Spider-Man's backstory for the people in the audience who maybe for whatever reason don't know his backstory.
I completely forgot that. Yeah, it recaps like the whole got superpowers. This is part of when Peter's doing his whole spiel of I suck and I've always sucked thing where it's like I got superpowers. Yeah, it does the same thing. What's funny is they do the part where Spider-Man he becomes a wrestler. They don't actually show the wrestling because that would take budget. The robber passes by, his uncle gets shot, and then he confronts the robber in a warehouse. I said this looks like the exact same set where he fought the Green Goblin. They actually call out it's the same location where he fights the Green Goblin.
Because how does the Green Goblin know that?
Because
presumably the Green Goblin lured him there like in the heat of battle.
Yeah, so it's like they wrote in an excuse why they reused the same set.
And the other thing that kind of bugged, again, this is another sign that the movie is aping the Sam Raimi movies. The way Peter was beating up the bad guy, Peter then eventually grabs the guy's wrist and twists it in the exact same fashion that Tobey Maguire does in the first movie.
And holds him up like against a window, exactly like he does in the first movie.
Yeah, like as the moonlight is shining through and Peter sees who he is.
Yeah.
So again, just another example of aping the Raimi movies.
Mm-hmm. So Spider-Man is I forget why Spider-Man doesn't leave through the window. He walks out the door and runs into the kid's mom.
Oh yeah, and then the mom asks, "What happened?" And by the way, the way the mom asks what happened, it almost sounds like she thinks the kid did something.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how that scene goes, but she basically spells out to Peter that he screwed up. So
you screwed up. Like my son idolizes you. Get back in there and fix it.
Yeah, you sorry motherfucker. So the crux of the one actual, well, aside from the Flash Thompson scene, the one actual good part of this movie where it looks like it's going to have an uplifting message is at the end, the kid basically goes through a scrapbook of all the other supervillains Spider-Man has fought, all the other heroes he saved, basically drilling into his head that he has done some good, and this isn't, that he has done a lot of good, and this isn't a crusade and stuff. It's that brief moment where you see what the point of the movie is, or what it could have been if they didn't botch the landing later.
And I bring it up by saying the movie kind of has this at least for a brief moment has the same thesis that It's a Wonderful Life does.
Yeah.
Where when all the bad shit starts happening to Jimmy Stewart in the movie, he wants to give up on life and say, it'd be better if I didn't exist, which is kind of like what Peter's going through right now, and it's like. And so so Spider-Man Lotus's thesis briefly becomes, yes, things suck right now, things are shitty, yes, you are feeling terrible right now, and yes, you may want to give up, which may be a valid feeling, but you still, that negates all the good you actually have done for people, and you not existing would just undo all that.
Yeah. So, it has a actually uplifting scene where Spider-Man is, getting boosted up from seeing all the good he's done. We still don't get an actual supervillain plot in this,
nope.
So the movie still kind of feels pointless. But, he says, the kid asks if Spider-Man's going to be back, and he says, I'll be in the neighborhood. He leaves. It is implied the kid dies immediately after he leaves.
And that's the other... we didn't really talk about the conversation he has with the kid before he leaves. He tells the kid, you're braver than me, even when I fought the Rhino and Shocker on that rooftop. Mm. It's he's pumping the kid up, you're brave, you can do this. And so, it makes you think the movie might do the admittedly sappy, but it would have been nice. Of the kid actually pulling through on his treatment, because even if it doesn't happen often, terminally ill kids can still get better.
Yeah.
So it feels like that's where it was going, and then we see Peter once again at the Spider-Man, dressed in his Spider-Man suit at the grave, and he starts talking. The kid died. His name was Timmy. He died.
Yeah.
And it's wow, way to waste that entire pep talk.
Yeah. So Spider-Man does this, gets this speech. He's recording a tape cassette for Gwen for some reason.
Which, by the way, that kind of reminded me of when Cyborg's dad recorded that father-son message in Justice League.
Yeah, except at least his son was still alive. He was recording it for someone who would hear it. But he gives this speech about how he's healing as a person, might love again and stuff. But he also says he's never going to get over Gwen, which Linkara has kind of touched on this as a recurring problem in Spider-Man comics, that the writers keep digging up the night Gwen Stacy died because they never want him to like move past it, and he hypothesizes it's a symptom of like the writers never letting Spider-Man actually mature. But that's not a good thing in the comics. That is a recurring problem that Marvel never wants him to get over Gwen Stacy.
Which again, which by the way, kind of just briefly brings up that argument of just because it's in the comics and it's being done consistently in the comics doesn't mean it's a good idea.
Like, I've seen a think piece that there is kind of a central tragedy to Spider-Man's character, that his one true love, his Lois Lane, died, and like Mary Jane is his second choice. But that's never been like really emphasized in the character that much. Like this movie feels like it's made by someone who doesn't get Spider-Man, but just thinks the night Gwen Stacy died was the most hardcore thing to happen in comics. Because it's basically this. We are at the end of the. We are an hour and a half into this movie with what we've described so far. Yeah. It is just people sitting in rooms being sad and talking about how sad it is that Gwen Stacy died, and that is pretty much this whole movie. Like at the very end, like Spider-Man gets that pep talk of, "No, wait, you've done some good. You've done a lot of good. You should still be Spider-Man." And then we get to where he's recording his message for Gwen, where he says, "I'm gonna keep being Spider-Man, not because I want to be, because I have to be."
And at that point,
way to facepalm and just completely flop your entire message. You do not get Spider-Man at all. Just facepalm flop.
Sorry. I'll get you later, Spider-Man.
It's like, so we both said that like the rising inspirational music as Spider-Man is leaving the kid's house, movie could have ended there.
But no, it goes. Again, it does the Snyder Cut thing where, like, you think, like in the Snyder Cut, you think the movie's over when, like, the Justice League is having that big heroic shot on top of the power plant. But no, but then it goes on for, like, another 20 to 30 minutes, and that's exactly what this movie does. It goes on for, like, another 15 to 20 minutes after a perfectly logical stopping point.
Like, yeah, it gets to the stopping point. It goes to, like, Spider-Man leaving the room. He says, "I'll be in the neighborhood." Perfect time to cut off. It doesn't. It comes back. Peter's recording his message for Gwen. They have Harry come back, and like he's forgiving Peter for being a dick, even though actually I think it's Harry and Mary Jane just like apologizing for being dicks, even though Peter's the one in the wrong. So again, seems like a natural stopping point. They're moving on and stuff. Nope, keeps going because like Flash Thompson's having his going away party to go to the army, and then Peter like is standing at the window, almost goes in, but then hears the siren. So it's like. This movie had, it's what people call Return of the King Syndrome. This movie had 3 endings.
And it couldn't decide which one, so it just like, throw them all together. Oh, and this movie ends on a shot basically very similar, once again, to the Raimi movies. And by the way, the music that's playing is also very similar to the ending music.
It is bootleg Sam Raimi Spider-Man soundtrack through all of this movie. Well...
and real quick, just dialing back a bit to, like, the problem with, like, Peter, like, you know, like, I'm gonna be Spider-Man, like, I'm gonna keep being Spider-Man not because I want to be, but because I have to be. And it's like, that completely misses the entire reason Peter was Spider-Man, because he remembers Uncle Ben's words, with great power comes great responsibility. So he is doing it he's doing it because he wants to honor his uncle's memory by being responsible with the powers he now has.
And between him saying like he's never gonna get over Gwen and him saying like I'm only doing Spider-Man because I have to be, it feels like this creator or writer or whatever's outlook on Spider-Man is that he should have just been sulking and miserable about the death of Gwen Stacy for the rest of his creation.
And you also said that would be like, imagine if this creator made John Wick, and John Wick was just John Wick bleeding out in the rain, feeling sad over his wife.
After about the dozenth scene of people moping to teen emo music, I was like, this is like John Wick if he just was moped about his wife the entire movie and never fought anyone.
Then finally we roll credits,
and it plays again emo teenage moping music over like comic book panels of Spider-Man moping about the people who died.
And just to make it extra funny, just to emphasize the point of the movie, I pulled out my phone and I started playing the version of Hallelujah that plays during the credits of Zack Snyder's Justice League, which by the way, if you somehow haven't heard that version of the song, it is like the most like emotionally sappy and pretentious version of that song, because it's this woman like constantly wailing, like just bellowing her heart out.
That's basically the tone of this whole movie, and it was actually less bad than the music they actually had playing over the end credits. I swear you keep that on your phone just to troll us.
Oh, I do. The big problem with Spider-Man Lotus is that it is just a movie where they're just sitting on ass
doing nothing.
And I was gonna bring this up. So whenever a Spider-Man movie has like Peter suffer an immense tragedy, it does linger on it a bit, but it's not the entire it's not the entire episode, it's not the entire movie. Actually, this is another problem that I want to talk about. Since now we're at the end, is the entire script is foreshadowing something so hard that when it actually happens, it doesn't hit you. It doesn't feel tragic.
Well, it doesn't even happen because the death of Gwen Stacy is entirely off screen. They cut over it.
But in some way, it should at least feel tragic. And then I also brought up when Aunt May dies in No Way Home. That's tragic for two reasons. One, yes, the movie lets it linger a little bit, but it doesn't stay on it the rest of the movie. And then your point about it was what again? It wasn't beating you over the head with the foreshadowing. It just when it happens, it comes as a shock.
When Gwen Stacy dies in Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Aunt May dies in No Way Home, the entire movie isn't built around that or around moping around it. It's you kind of get the sense of escalation because they stress through the fight scene. Peter has to contain this fight because someone is nearby, and this could easily go wrong, and then it does. Or when May dies at the end of the Insomniac Spider-Man game,
that also
has a lot of build up, and I think what helps both of them is you get that investment because Spider-Man is trying to save them and fails. You don't see that at all in this version in Spider-Man.
And at least gives Spider-Man a reasonable chance of saving. It gives him a reasonable shot at saving them.
Yeah.
And then the movie and then also No Way Home. It kind of revisits Gwen's death by giving Andrew Garfield a redemption arc by saving Zendaya's MJ. Mm-hmm. So again, it's the movie other Spider-Man projects have done various iterations of iconic deaths of characters in much better ways.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the whole point I wanted to make there.
Yeah. Now, the movie comparison I wanted to make, because there's a movie that I sincerely hope is on my top 10 worst of the year list this year, The Death of Robin Hood.
Oh, God.
Because the premise of Death of Robin Hood is basically it stars Hugh Jackman as an old man, because it wants to beat Logan so bad. But the premise of Death of Robin Hood is he was just this asshole who ran around killing people, and all the stories were completely made up. And the movie is him basically moping at a hospital. It starts out with him moping because he thinks his whole life is just crap and he wants to die. It's not so much builds up him up as a decent person. It's more he kind of starts to find peace. But then at the end he decides, nope, fuck it, I still want to die. And it's it kind of does the same thing where it's the premise of Death of Robin Hood, or the message of it is, even if this story is bullshit, it still has meaning and importance and inspires people. But even if he doesn't believe it himself, except in that movie, it's the story actually is complete horseshit. So that's why I think that might be coloring my opinion on this, where it's it doesn't feel genuine in its messaging on Spider-Man. It's more it feels I guess, like, he's gonna keep going even though he still thinks he's a piece of shit.
Well, and that's kind of how it...
Just out of obligation.
Well, and that's kind of how it also neuters, like, even the positive representation, even the positive messages on grief.
Yeah.
Is basically, like, it feels like Spider-Man saying, well, nothing matters.
Yeah. Like, it has a positive message on grief, but you feel like the movie doesn't believe it.
Nope, because, which again, earlier in the movie, it feels like the movie was chastising a person for abusing pills.
Yeah.
Just,
Which, I mean, doing pills is not a good thing, but it doesn't treat him with, like, understanding of his situation.
It doesn't, like, it treats him like a bad person, which, no, like, how Peter should have handled that is seen his friend as someone with an addiction, because addiction's a disease, and then, like, it should have gone something like this. Harry, I know what you're going through. Yes, Gwen was all our friend. We miss her, and we miss her, and we're devastated. Pills are not the answer, though. There's got to be a better way.
Mm-hmm. Instead, Peter is written as such an inhuman douche canoe that, like, grief or no grief, there is no recovering for the character past that point.
No, Peter Parker / Spider-Man is just an unlikable dick in this movie.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that the actor does not have an ounce of charisma.
No. So, Spider-Man Lotus was just a miserable movie.
It was
torture.
It was wallowing in its own misery for an hour and 45 minutes. And barely any superhero action, no plot to speak of, and so off base about this character that it's kind of makes it
insulting.
It makes it bitterly ironic that this was hyped up as the story that would get Spider-Man right amongst the MCU's entries.
Or this was initially hyped up as, like, the best fan movie ever made.
Yeah. And it's like complete and it all cratered because, like, this doesn't feel like a fan of Spider-Man. This just feels like a guy who thought that killing off the hero's love interest was the most hardcore thing you could do in comics.
So I guess on the bright side, though, Spider-Man Brand New Day, regardless of what the quality is like, which I'm sure it'll be a good movie.
Yeah, or at least I'm excited for Brand New Day.
Or at least decent, and for whatever story it doesn't get right, it'll certainly at least retain the core of who Spider-Man is.
Yeah. Like, last night we watched The Amazing Bulk, which is, on every conceivable level, a worse movie than Spider-Man Lotus. But I'd still rather watch it because at least it has some sense of fun.
It's also 75 minutes.
Yes, that too. It is much shorter, but, like, Spider-Man Lotus is just a miserable experience in that it is bludgeon and is beating you over the head with feel sad because people die, feel sad.
Like, even when other superhero movies have, like, major deaths occur that aren't Spider-Man.
They don't have an entire entry belly aching about it.
Like, for example, when Bruce loses his childhood love interest, Rachel, in The Dark Knight. He does have a sad about it. It's not the rest of the movie, though.
Well, Dark Knight Rises does have him, like, sulking about it because it kind of devastated him, but there's other contributing factors, and it doesn't take him the entire movie to come back from it.
And on top of that, there's at least supervillain action going on.
Yeah, there is a plot that is ongoing in need of resolution.
So it's not that we have a problem characters sulking about, like, a death of a loved one or something. It's just, like, it's what happens when that's all you make. It's only a problem when you have the sulking and that's it and nothing else.
This person's take on a superhero movie is that superheroes the entire movie should be moping that when something bad happens instead of, like, being something that they overcome or shake off or is part of a larger narrative. And it's like, I hesitate because I wonder if that was just a byproduct of being such a small production, but it still feels like...
No, I'm sorry. If this movie wants to be treated like a big boy...
It still feels like this person's take on the superhero genre is that it should suck.
So, like, yeah, like the last major thing I've got to say is kind of like something I've said a few times throughout the movie is like, if you want to like see this story done well and not have such a miserable experience, watch the Amazing Spider-Man. Well, watch the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. That way you get the buildup of Gwen and Peter's relationship. Watch the arc from the Spider-Man 90 series, because you actually can find that on DVD where it like takes the
Disney Plus.
Or Disney Plus, and you can actually find the quintessential Green Goblin episodes that are important to the arc.
Yeah.
And so like you can do that. You can watch No Way Home, which is an infinitely better movie.
And we're hoping brand new. While you're talking about stuff that stays on theme, it just occurred to me another movie this reminds me of that I've seen is All Superheroes Must Die.
Oh dear.
Because that movie's take on the superhero genre was also like, we're gonna deconstruct it by just having all the heroes be sad failures that are useless. And it's like, you don't get the superhero genre, you despised it, and you're just trying to hide it as this is the real shit, when it's like, no, you just don't understand it.
Or better yet, like, or something maybe real quick, maybe something even closer to comparison would be Man of Steel. Your problem with Man of Steel is, like, I think one of your problems is, like...
It doesn't really feel like Superman.
And he mopes around the entire movie.
Well, he sulks for the first half of it.
Yeah, he sulks for... But again, there still is at least an escalation, though. There is a plot happening.
Yeah. And he does eventually, like, get off his ass and do something. Like, it's probably closer more to, like, Batman v Superman, because that's the one that Superman spends the whole movie moping over.
But again, there's still a plot in Batman versus, as stupid as it is.
He's not the only main character in that movie. There's other stuff and an actual plot happening.
Like an actual narrative, like where the stakes are getting higher and higher.
Yeah.
How bad do you have to be to where we start complimenting Batman versus Superman?
Or at least drawing comparisons to these other movies that we don't like.
God.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Lotus, again, if you're really that curious, you can watch it for free on YouTube.
We did not have a single ad through it, so that was nice.
So I was kind of surprised, which again was like when the movie fades to black all those times, it's like maybe that's where ads were supposed to go.
It feels like it has built-in commercial breaks, is the weirdest thing.
So yeah, like if you want to watch Spider-Man Lotus, you can just search it up on YouTube, and it's easy to find. I've got it saved on a playlist.
You shouldn't, but you can.
Like it's free. You don't have to pay money to watch it.
On a technical level, it's a commendable effort of trying to crowdfund a superhero movie and having some matter of skill with the costuming and stuff, or
and some bits of the acting.
But like, this is a person who does not understand Spider-Man and thought that he thinks he's the real fan when he just doesn't get it.
So, just...
Yeah.
I honestly, if you're gonna spend time watching a new Spider-Man movie, go and watch Brand New Day.
Please do. Theaters have been struggling this year, I think.
They really have.
Mortal Kombat 2 underperformed. Bad second example, but Moana's cratering, which it deserves to.
I'm kind of scared for Street Fighter.
I hope, because Street Fighter looks fun, but it's like, Mortal Kombat 2 did not deserve to flop. Like, Mandalorian and Grogu, I'm surprised it underperformed as much as it did. I don't know why Moana was the next example I went to, because that deserves to fail. But it just seems like a lot of high-profile movies that we enjoyed have been struggling this year.
Mm-hmm. So please, go see Spider-Man Brand New Day, just so you can be reminded that, like... and just hopefully... make it a big enough success to where hopefully the creator of this movie sees it and is like... actually gets a lesson on how Spider-Man should be. Just one other really quick thing. When I was looking at the IMDb trivia page, reportedly, allegedly, John Watts and Andrew Garfield, John Watts, the director of the first 3 Tom Holland movies, and Andrew Garfield, the star of Amazing Spider-Man, reached out to the creators of this to kind of compliment them. I'm not sure if that's true or not.
That might just be wanting to promote indie filmmaking.
Yeah,
to be fair.
which is commendable, but at the same time, it's like, Andrew, how could you take a look at this Spider-Man and be like, yes, dude, keep it up. I've got no notes for you.
Iron Lung from Markiplier earlier this year was a vastly better example of an indie filmmaker just going out and doing it and actually knowing what he was doing and actually having affection for the material. Like, I think that movie badly needed subtitles, but it was still much better than this.
Oh, we did forget one thing, the single best thing about this movie. We forgot the best thing in this movie.
YouTube's auto-generated subtitles are trash. Like, if you took every time music is playing, the word heat appears in the subtitles. Heat. And it mistakenly calls Harry like
Dar
at one point. YouTube's auto-generated subtitles are pure garbage.
They must have been using like a very basic text speech to text function.
And also the fact this movie did not bother to go back and add its own subtitle track, which I don't know if that's still a thing on YouTube.
I think you can, yeah.
Kind of speaks to this did not have as much effort as you'd think it did.
And also yes, you could play a drinking game with how many times this subtitle keeps saying heat.
You'd be dead, but yes, you could do it.
But one of the other,
you can challenge yourself to see if you die of alcohol poisoning before the kid dies in the movie. That was bad.
That was bad. But so the one other hilarious subtitle fuck up in this movie is when is when Mary Jane is having the heart to heart with Harry. I think is when this happens, and it's I think Mary Jane is actually saying I don't understand you, Harry. I don't understand you right now, Harry. The subtitles gets translated as I don't understand women.
Yeah. Mary Jane doesn't understand women, which again feeds into her coming out of the closet thing in that sequence.
Oh my god. Okay, I think that's enough.
I think we're good. Yeah, we covered it.
Honestly, I think that was about as good a note to end. What the hell, man?
Ends better than the movie does. We know when to cut it off.
Oh my god.